Hi. I've been unemployed for 3 days now, or fun-employed, and I've been trying to dive headfirst into what my heart calls me to do and not be held back by fear. And I've been supported on this journey by Kyle Cease on YouTube, and I bought his Evolving Out Loud Unlimited version. It's an online series of videos for $20. And he talks in that about how it can be painful when you do these things that you've never done before, that you always thought that you couldn't do, because you're letting go of that old vision of yourself that you had. And that can be painful. It can result in tears and uncomfortable feelings when you do the thing, but then afterwards you realise you're now a new person that can do that thing, and you've let go of that old person. And he also gives the example in his video that a lot of people go to the toilet when they're at his seminars, a lot, so they get through a lot of toilet paper, and that's a sign when you're letting go of stuff. Often it comes out in that way. And sometimes he talks about, sometimes it comes out as laughter, sometimes it comes out as tears, sometimes it just comes out as sort of pain. And for me, yesterday, I think I really experienced that. So one of the things that I really felt called to do was go to California. I'm going to meet Kyle Cease. I booked this a while ago, so I'm going on his 6-day meditation retreat called The End of Effort. So I really felt called to do that. Then I booked my flights and everything. Then I felt called to go to this event in London the other week. I didn't really know why I was going. I wasn't really interested in the event itself, and when I got there I was kind of like, yeah, this is not really for me. And at lunchtime, I hadn't realised that the price of the ticket included a lunch, so I'd brought my own lunch with me. And there was one other woman who was sitting down. Everyone else was queuing up to get the lunch provided. So I went and sat with this woman and started talking to her. And it turns out she wasn't really sure why she was there either. She'd come along with a friend that she'd been spending the week with. And we got chatting, and it turns out she's from Canada, and she runs an organisation called the Thoughtful Workplace, and it just sounds like exactly what I want to learn, is how to run a thoughtful workplace. I've been fired from my job for not being able to call in sick when I feel stressed and feel like I can't go into work. And I really want to start my own organisation now, which doesn't fire people. Or I just want to do it a different way. I want to have a thoughtful workplace where everybody thinks for themselves about how to solve problems, including their own problems with stress and anxiety and self-esteem, which I think is what was causing me stress. Anyway, so I was really interested in what she does, and she said, I said, how can I learn more about it? She said, well, we run workshops and stuff, planning one at the end of August, but it's in California. And I was like, oh, I'm actually flying out to California on the 31st of August. And she said I worked from the 24th until the 30th. And funnily enough, when I booked my flights, I felt like I was doing it. It wasn't what I wanted to be doing. I was doing it out of fear that the flights would get more expensive if I left it longer. Now I realise I should have waited because I couldn't cancel my flights, so I had to book new flights to go on this thing. I felt really called to go on her retreat. It's just near where I'm going. It's just the week before. It's like perfect timing. But I'd booked non-amendable flights, so I had to book new ones. And I started feeling really stressed about it. Just researching flights, even though I found some really cheap flights in the end. For example, I was on the phone. I asked for a quote from a company, like a online travel agent, and a really nice woman phoned me back to just check the details. And I was really rude to her. She was just trying to help me. She was just trying to find out why, because I'd asked her for a quote for just the outbound flight, because I thought I could just change that. And very helpfully, she informed me that if I don't show up for my outbound flight, for the flight I originally booked on the 31st of August, they will automatically cancel my return. And I was annoyed to hear that, to learn that, because I thought I could just book a one-way ticket. But it wasn't her fault. But I took it out on her, and I was really rude to her. And this was because I was feeling stressed. And I realise now I was feeling really stressed because I had this belief that I am not the kind of person who does this. I'm not the kind of person who says, oh well, and just gives up that money and books a whole new set of flights. I'm not the kind of person who goes to California for 2.5 weeks to do 2 6-day retreats in the sunshine. And I'm letting go of, these weren't beliefs that I held forefront in my mind. It's not something I told myself every day, but I'd never done this before, so I'm having to move into a new me, a new kind of me that does this, that can happily say goodbye to £500 of plane tickets to follow my calling, that can spend 2.5 weeks on self-development, and 2.5 weeks and more than £1,000 on self-development. I had to go and have a little lie down after I booked the tickets because it felt really stressful and painful, and I realised it's because I'm saying goodbye to that old me. And looking back, I realised I'd done this before, said goodbye to an old part of myself. Like, with my job that I just got fired from, that was working with young people, working with teenagers, teaching them how to organise campaigns on environmental issues. And when I first started that job, I was shit scared because I'd never worked with young people before. I had this sort of deep down, I sort of knew it, belief that I don't get on well with children, teenagers, young people. And a belief that I couldn't teach. I've said that out loud several times. Like, yeah, because I did maths at university, a lot of people would say to me, like, oh, you could be a maths teacher. And I would respond with, oh, I'm good at maths, but I can't teach it. I can't teach. I'm not patient enough. And so starting this job, I had to let go of those beliefs that I can't teach and that I don't get on with young people. And I think I'm learning that's what was so stressful about my job. I'm sort of learning this as I'm saying it out loud, that maybe that's why I struggled so much. That I spent so much time running away and playing Candy Crush Saga and watching YouTube. I had to let go of that old me. I've also let go of the old me that used to love lie-ins. I now get up at 7:30 at the latest every day. I've let go of the old me that identified with coffee, which sounds really superficial, but I think a lot of people do it. You see people wearing t-shirts like, I'm not me until I've had the first coffee in the morning, kind of. Yeah, that was me. I had this whole ritual with grinding my own coffee beans in the morning, because not any old coffee wouldn't do. I knew how to make good coffee. I wouldn't go to any old coffee shop and have a coffee. I was all about the coffee, and I was going to open a coffee shop. And then I gave up coffee. I decided it wasn't serving me anymore. It made me feel jittery and nervous. It wasn't helping with my sleep. And I kind of kept it to myself. I didn't really want to tell people I'd given up coffee because I identified so much with it. But yeah, no, I let go of that part of me that identified with coffee. Anyway, now that I've let go of that part of me that didn't believe I could go to California, I'm easing into the part of me that really, really feels cool to go, and I'm very excited about going. And I'm very excited about being that new me that can do that. Just wanted to share that with you. Thanks for listening.